Hello, this is Pierpaolo Festa from Filmmakers for Ukraine. I'm here talking to Yulia Clack, the main subject of the documentary SIBS Film. Yulia, thank you for your time. And thanks Derek also to have agreed to give us the film. So this was very touching. I bet there are like thousands of stories by Ukrainians right now that left their country worth being listened. And yours is one of them. I was very touched watching the film. First question is, how did you get to become the voice in the film? How did your story became a film, basically?
That's actually a great question. You know that I'm being here in the US right now, and I came back from Ukraine to the United States in January, so like a few weeks before the war started. And when I got the news, I was the first one to call my mom on the phone to say, Mom, the war has started. They're bombing us. They're bombing our hometown, our cities. And I just felt really, really helpless being here across the ocean. And I asked myself, how can I help and what can I do? And I work in production, so I feel way more comfortable being behind the scenes or on the other side of the camera. But I felt like at that moment, it was the only thing that I could do is to use my voice. And I promised myself that I'll just do it. It doesn't matter if I feel uncomfortable. I know the stories, my family is there, and I'll be their voice here. So by staying in touch, being with constantly getting updates from my family who were in Ukraine, I just simply used my voice. And I, to this day, 9 months later, I encourage other people to do the same.
Can you tell me the moment your family saw the film? Did you show it to them? What was the feedback, and how was that moment?
Yeah, so my brother speaks English. My mom doesn't speak English very well, but she said that she didn't need to understand the language to know the heart behind it. And I'm grateful that I hope that I was able to communicate the message, what was in my heart.
Of course you did. It was very, very touching.
Mm.
Listen, I was very the documentary is about community, the community that SIBS was before the war and after the war. Can we draw a line between those two things? Can you tell me about how was it before? Because it was a center for workshops, for people gathering together and learning English, for example. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so when we first opened our first coffee shop, for me and my brother Andre, it's always been more than coffee, even though we love coffee, don't get me wrong. But I had a great opportunity to come to the United States and study here. So after I was done with my college, I went back to Ukraine and I wanted to give back to my community. I know not everybody has a chance to go and study overseas. So we thought, like, now we have a place, it's our own, we can do whatever we want here, not just serve coffee. So it became like a community hub for hosting English clubs and then concerts. And then we did we called it street university, things that you cannot learn at school, like how to write resume, how to travel light, how to, and I don't know, it's been amazing. I made so many great friends because I was gone for 4 years. I go back to my hometown, and you kind of start your life all over again. So maybe I'm a little bit selfish because I'm like, I want friends. What's the best way to gather people around? I guess it's always a cup of coffee. And then when the war started, I don't know if you knew that, but our baristas showed up. Sirens were going on, was so much uncertainty, and they showed up to serve coffee to people. Of course, we had to dismiss them that day for their safety, but they came back the next day, and we were looking for ways how to stay open. And then, you know, we served coffee before the war, and then we started making food, sandwiches. Our place was a place for people to bring whatever they had at home to help our soldiers.
Yeah.
And it's been very difficult to watch it, but at the same time, it's been amazing. It felt like our whole town came together.
Let's go back to what you said, because the first time I saw the film, I was amazed by this. So the days that the occupation starts, baristas show up. They just come. That was it.
Mhm. Yeah, they're like, well, well, what do you like? We gotta do something. Everyone wanted to play a part. Everybody wanted to help. Everybody wanted to do something. And like a few things that were behind the scenes in the first few days. We were able, my mom, my dad, my brother, his wife, they were able to organize community. And then our coffee shop was being a part of like distributing food and supplies. And then our local church, I think about 200 women showed up because their men went to defend town, country, and they just came to make camouflage nets and candles for soldiers. It's winter, you know, winters in Ukraine, like in Berlin, are very cold. It was just amazing to see how something like the worst thing that can happen to anybody can unite so many people.
This is incredible. The film is about that, and you also left us a statement that you believe that everybody can help, and in helping, we contribute also to the unity that you call victory. Is that so?
Yeah, I do truly think that I don't know, it doesn't matter where you're at. I feel like we're not just fighting for Ukraine, it's more than that. We're fighting for the values, the humanity, and we're fighting against evil. And like, if I can serve as an example, being here in the US and hopefully making some difference in helping to get us closer to Ukraine, then you can do it. Anybody can do it. And I hold on to my brother's words because sometimes I get discouraged. I want to be there, hands and feet on the ground. But he says, I believe that each and us are exactly where we're supposed to be. And I shared it with some of other friends, and it was encouraging to them because resources you have there, I don't have them here, and vice versa. So at the end, when it's all, you know, when the war comes to an end, we'll be celebrating our victory. And it's 100% not just Ukraine's victory, it's our victory, our shared victory.
Thanks for explaining me this. So from Seattle, how are you helping SIBS and what SIBS does?
So the war started in February, and it was the end of February. The first week of March, we simply created Amazon wish list, and it felt like every connection that I made throughout my 4 years living here previously played a role, and people started contributing, and we ended up having 46 suitcases that my husband flew to deliver to Ukraine with his friends. And then my brother in Ukraine met him at the border, got the supplies. It was simply like survival kits, water purifiers, tourniquets. And then after that, it seemed like it never stopped. We, you know, just made a call in our community. People started bringing warm clothes for the winter or food. I think as of today, we've sent over 15 tons of supplies by simply just sharing the word. And people kept telling their friends, and I was able to go back to Ukraine, and actually in 2 weeks, my husband and I are going back to Ukraine with more supplies.
This is amazing that you're going back. Would you like to share a little bit more about your traveling home?
Yeah, the first time I went back to Ukraine, because my hometown is closer to the Russian border and it wasn't very safe. But this time we decided that we're going to my hometown. There's a lot of refugees, internally displaced people. Not everybody has an opportunity to go as far away from the border, like closer to Poland or other countries. So we decided that we're going to go and we will help distribute supplies. And I know the biggest thing right now is going to cities and villages that have been under occupation because they're struggling the most. People have lived with no water, electricity. So we'll be getting power banks, water purifiers, food, warm clothes to those places that are hurting the most.
It's interesting because you say that by watching the film, we can learn on how to help. That's amazing. That's also the power of this film.
Mm. Yeah, thank you. I think the goal was to just, you know, share what was in the heart and hoping that it will touch somebody else's heart and people will respond to that.
Listen, I'm in Europe and we were ready to help and to brainstorm on how to get help, and because we are closer. But I want to know how it goes in US in terms of helping, not just in your community. What's your perception?
I think that you always expect like, oh, why can like some countries can do more? Why is this war is still happening? And one thing that I learned is it, like government can do their own thing, and there's nothing you can do about it. But people want to help people, and people help people. And I was so amazed by that, so encouraged meeting somebody that never met me in person before, don't know my family in Ukraine. They're like, well, we just feel helpless. What can we do? And it's been the most encouraging thing to see for me personally, being Ukrainian in the US, that people want to help people. Doesn't matter what their government is doing, but people have kind hearts.
Your enthusiasm and positivity is contagious. Going back to the film, how hard was for you to share in front of a camera?
Even this, uh, I think, what brings me back is that like my brother just came back from Bakhmut, Donetsk region, where the most hard battles are taking place. In seeing what conditions people live in, I cannot, complain or talk about how uncomfortable it is for me. It was definitely, being vulnerable is not a norm in our society anymore. Using your social media to be truly truthful and as you are is not very normal. We use filters and people just show the best picture, and it was a challenge for me too. But I thought, I'm here, I have a place to sleep, I have food. The only thing I can do is to share, and if I will share, I want to share it from my heart. I mean, that's all I have. So it's not always easy to be true to yourself, to other people, but it's very rewarding at the end.
Yulia, thank you very much. Let's close on this. I really love your shirt, so thank you for that. This is amazing. So, and thank you for sharing. Thanks for the film.
Thank you so much. Thank you.